Thank you, Senator. I recognize Senator Jason Atkinson, please.
To the bill.
To the bill, please.
Had some fine debate today, Mr. President. If I were to surmise this bill, though, in one word, I would call this bill appalling. When I was about 19 years old, my mother bought me a suit from Pinstripe, charcoal. It was from Fred Meyer, or not from Fred Meyer, from Iron Frank. And it was a 42 long with a 30-inch waist. And I put that on, and I went to Washington, D.C., and I was a congressional intern. And I wore that almost every day until I saved up enough money to buy another sport coat. So I had two. And I saved up all my money one weekend, and I bought a bus ticket. And I went for this kid from Oregon, never been to the East Coast. I took off and I went to New York City. And this big old Trailways bus dropped me off right at Rockefeller Square. And it dropped me off right in front of that statue of Mr. Atlas holding up the globe. And as I walked off the bus, there was a new friend just waiting for a kid to come off the bus from Oregon. He had this little table set up, and he had these cups, like dishes, and he'd move them around. And then he'd say, "Hey, kid, put a buck here. Here's $100. If you can tell me which one of these the $100 is in, you can have it." I was too tight to go with a dollar, but I sat back and I watched this guy. And if I look at this bill today, it's just like it was when I was about 19 years old in New York City for the first time, a big shell game. Because we all know if we just act honestly here, if this wasn't a special order of business today, and this vote were taken on Monday, this would be a tax increase. Shell game. We all know that this is a tax raise when you're going to start to tax unemployment. Someone who's getting unemployment is now going to be paying taxes on that. We know that we are now taxing under this bill, House Bill 2157, we're going to be changing the depreciation schedules. It's a shell game. You can see your stimulus. You can have it if you can see where Oregon State government is going to stop the shell. But no one can guess where this is going to stop. We've heard, quote, that this is unfair. And we've heard, quote, that we're putting somebody to the head of the line. Mr. President, my district's not at the head of any line. I have this bellwether community. I talk about it all the time. I've done it for 10 years. It's called the city of Rogue River. Little teeny, there's a lot of towns just like it all across Oregon, but this is my bellwether. If it doesn't work in Rogue River, I'm not voting for it. The last stimulus bill that we had didn't even give a rain gutter to Rogue River. But if you recall, I spoke about the principal who painted the school on his own dime. And the bake sales that went on, and the community that's trying to keep together. If it doesn't play in Rogue River, I ain't voting for it. This bill doesn't play in Rogue River. Let me read you some things that I've got in the last couple days from real people. Please vote no on this bill. Lyndon Gary Gross. Jacksonville, my former district minus redistricting. From Claire Niedermeyer. This bill is not good for small business and will not be good for Oregon. White City. Stan Alexander says vote no. From Medford, Dennis Johnson says, at a time when Oregon families need all the help they can receive to prevent these families the benefits of the federal stimulus bill is pathetic. John Gilshan from Ashland, former hometown, no longer my district. Disconnecting Oregon from the federal tax code, denying Oregonians and Oregon companies from the benefits of the federal stimulus package is wrong, resulting in nearly $100 million increase to Oregonians and Oregon businesses. This is a tax raise. Now, I agree intellectually with my good friend, the Honorable Senator from Lane County. He made a fantastic point about the 10th Amendment, which is why we should all vote no. We should all vote no because this is a bad bill and our people need to see the tax relief on a Thursday, not a tax increase on a Monday. We need to have that relief now. It is a states' rights bill. And my good senator friend from Beaverton made a great point
Senator,
about...
your time. Oh, your Senator. Thank you. Senator Gerard yields. Please proceed, Senator. Please.
Thank you. My good friend and colleague from Senator from Beaverton made a great point about the Bush tax cuts that Oregon fought so often to disconnect from. The bottom line is this. What we're telling business here today is that you don't matter. Your depreciation, your investment doesn't matter. The stimulus bill that we passed a few weeks ago, that matters. Even though you can't participate, that's what matters. If you want to buy a new copier, a new car, a new fence, if you want to depreciate a new piece of equipment, that doesn't count. If you want to do that and grow your business, why don't you go, what we're saying, why don't you go to one of the other 49 states in America that are taking advantage of this rather than disconnecting like the state of Oregon's going to do? Oregon government wants your money, is what a yes vote on this does do. I couldn't help but to think about being just a kid and watching a shell game. Mr. President, I didn't play that game, and I don't think we should do that either.
Thank you, Senator. I recognize Senator Walker.